Proposition 19, legalize marijuana in California. Basically, this proposition will do 5 things. Allow people 21 years and older to use marijuana, allow the government to regulate and tax marijuana, prohibit people from having marijuana on school grounds or from using it in public or around minors, prohibit people from driving while stoned, and prohibit employers from discriminating against marijuana users unless job performance is actually impaired. Now, a yes vote on Prop 19 legalizes marijuana and a no vote keeps it illegal, except for medical marijuana, which is already legal. The people pushing the yes side of this are saying Proposition 19 will free up tens of millions of dollars in enforcement, because naturally, police officers will no longer have to seek out and arrest potheads, courthouses will no longer have to try potheads, and consequently, the prison system will no longer have to house potheads. And thus, it would result in millions of dollars in savings. And they also continue to make the point that the war on drugs has failed and will continue to fail, just as it did in the 20s with Prohibition. And all we're doing is wasting much-needed tax dollars. They say it will free up police officers to focus on violent crimes rather than hassling innocent potheads who just want to get stoned peacefully. They say Prop 19 will make it harder for minors to get marijuana because it will now be regulated like cigarettes and alcohol with driver's license requirements and the like, whereas now minors have easy access to marijuana because, let's face it, most drug dealers do not ask for ID before making a sale. It will raise allegedly $1.4 billion in tax revenue to help the California budget, and in fact, the program will be called Toking for Taxes. Okay, no, I just made that up. Anyway, they say it will weaken violent, murderous drug cartels in Mexico by reducing the demand for smuggled dope. After all, why would anyone buy smuggled pot when you could buy fresh, murder-free, regulated pot from Walgreens? It's true, if this proposition passes, Walgreens may be just selling a new kind of greens. So we'll see what happens with that. Lastly, Proposition 19 is referred to as a victimless crime by its proponents. Therefore, why should it be illegal? Those are the main points the yes people are making. The no people are making the argument that Proposition 19 doesn't define the term under the influence or provide a way to test someone's sobriety when pulled over for driving under the influence of marijuana. So basically, even though it may be illegal to drive under the influence, it can't be enforced because there are no blood limits like those used in the case of alcohol. And there are no prescribed recommended measures for testing a person, even if there were limits. They oppose Prop 19 because it gives employees the right to possess marijuana on the job, regardless of an employer's will. This means that even medical lab testers and operators of heavy equipment, etc., would be allowed to smoke pot with legal immunity, even before coming to work. They say Prop 19 could cost California schools $9.4 billion because many California public schools receive money from the federal government. And when you get money from the federal government, you can't be a stoner or have stoners working for you, or they take that money right back. Finally, Mothers Against Drunk Driving say that school bus drivers would be able to smoke pot so long as they did it before they got on the job, and furthermore, they couldn't legally be disciplined until after they've had an accident. I guess for whatever reason, no one wants Bobo the druggie driving their kids around town, pointing at the diamonds in the sky, dude. Or better yet, hey, kiddies, I just had a vision. You want to skip school and go to Chuck E. Cheese? That'd be so rad. Okay, here's my take on all this. I was seriously considering voting for this proposition before I read a little more about it. No, I don't smoke pot, and I don't want to smoke pot, and I don't want people smoking pot around me with that nauseating stench. But we are fighting a losing battle, and I can see how it would raise a lot of tax revenue and could be considered a matter of personal freedom. After all, I wouldn't want the government telling me that I couldn't take, say, calcium as a supplement, which has been done before, because they feel like, oh, somehow that's going to be bad for me and all that. And so I can see how stoners would feel the same way about their little hash. However, there are several damaging loopholes in the way that this proposition was written. And this is a very good example of one of those things where you have to remember just because you agree with the principle of the proposed law doesn't necessarily mean you should vote for the law. It's a bad idea to vote for a law with good principles but bad implementation. Sometimes the law just needs to be rewritten. The opening line of the argument against Prop 19 reads, even if you support the legalization of recreational marijuana, you should vote no on Prop 19. And it's because of all these loopholes about not clearly defining driving under the influence and eliminating an employer's right to decide whether or not they want to hire stoners and leaving no mechanism to prevent stoners from causing harm to others in too many situations. If they tightened it up a little bit, I do think I could vote for a marijuana bill. But I can't support this one in its current form. So that's that about that. No on Prop 19.